Alrighty, welcome to episode 173 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has confirmed the success of its Powerwall product by announcing there have been over 600,000 Powerwalls installed globally. Although a current Australian tally is unknown, as at August 2022, Tesla confirmed the installation of a total of 33,000 Powerwalls. It's plausible that in the intervening 18 months, the current tally would be approaching about 50,000 units. Western Australia's WAEV network has further progressed with Horizon Power's off-grid 50 kilowatt tritium fast DC charger site at Nanyatara Roadhouse now mostly commissioned and imminently open to all EVs to use. This brings the total number of stations currently active to 27 out of the final project plan of 49 sites. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome to another episode of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. There was actually some late breaking news which only occurred a few hours ago where Elon Musk has announced that he has just signed off on the final specifications for the Tesla second generation Roadster, and that in his estimation there will be a new reveal by the end of this year, and the new Roadster will go into production next year. Elon time. So that's some late breaking news. Alrighty, as is customary, if there is anyone who is new and you are comfortable in doing so, please unmute yourself and say hello.
Hello, my name's Tim.
Tim,
Nice to
welcome.
meet you all.
Great to have you on the show.
Thanks very much.
Please tell us about yourself and your awesome car that you either have or have ordered.
Yes. I have a Model Y. I got it in December last year, and bloody love it. And I'm a actor, and the first big trip that I'm taking it on is I'm heading up to Karratha. Heading up to Broome, but in the EV going up to Karratha and back in about 2 weeks' time. And we're touring a show up there, so I'm really excited that can be forging the way for our industry to use EVs as we tour around this very big state of ours. So it's been very
That's
inspirational learning from Harold and all of you about the way that this can be done, and it has been done for at least a decade by the sounds of things. So yeah, it's all very inspirational.
now, Tim, are you being sincere or are you just pretending? Are you just acting?
Yeah. No,
Anyway, so
I'm not
moving
very
right
good at
along.
lying. I'm
No,
more.
moving right along. Yeah, so you've got a spare tire and a couple of things you're going to be collecting from me before the trip. So I have got your
Yeah, I'd
text,
love
and I'll
to
give you a
figure out
buzz
how to do that.
tomorrow.
But yeah.
Now the good news for you, since
Oh,
Nanyatara was
perfect.
mentioned, because that was one of the locations that was always going to be non-ideal, but now that Nanyatara is basically, oh, now that's something else. Just to clarify about Nanyatara, it does not yet appear on the ChargeFox app because that pin has not actually been enabled yet. And the reason for that is that there is just one test that Horizon Power wants to do before they actually put it on make it available on the ChargeFox platform. But having said that, it's actually available to use now. So we've had a confirmation of a gentleman who used it on Monday, much to the surprise of Dan Healy at Horizon Power. But I sort of had to explain to him that EV owners are like ants. They drive around all over the place, and you never go past a charger that's got its light on, and you always give it a go. So that will be running officially on the platform, on the billing platform, most likely next week. So in your case, Tim, it means that you can basically drive all the way to Karratha unfettered using nothing but fast DC chargers, which require nothing. However, we will lend you a Type 2 to Type 2 cable because it acts as a backup in case, for whatever reason, the fast DC charger isn't working. And you can always, on the WAV network sites, use the backup AC charger, which will be a lot slower, but it'll get you moving. So I guess if you're just terminating at Karratha and then using another vehicle or whatever, that's totally cool. Karratha is the last fast DC charger currently available until actually in Broome. But yeah, it's going to be great. And I think you're right, Tim. It'll show other people the way that using an EV is not an impingement to a road trip. In fact, it makes it more relaxing.
Mm.
Alrighty, but welcome again to the program. If there is, let's try for a second one. If there is anyone else who is new and would like to unmute and say hello, please do so in the next 5 seconds or so. Perhaps later. That's totally cool. Alrighty, so I've got a couple of Cybertruck interesting videos or images to spool up a bit later on, but before we get to that, which is my most interesting subject, at least personally, oh, actually, Ken, you have a bit of news for what I used to be, and you still are, a legacy Tesla owner. So pray tell, what's been going on with your blue Model S?
Um, well, there's a long version, but the very short version is most of the Hardware 2 cars got islanded, which meant they stopped getting software updates from week 26 last year. And after some investigation with the Tesla crew, we discovered that that was because they hadn't had the camera upgrade, which all the cars in the rest of the world had, which is required for continued use. So basically, without boring everybody, the older cars have cameras that aren't RGB, and the newer software pretty much requires RGB.
Sorry, Ken, that was me.
cameras.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So basically, the short version is we're supposed to get a free upgrade. It was announced in 2021, but Australia didn't get on the list until now. So so my Model S has just had its cameras upgraded, and as of right now, it's running the current version of the software. In fact, it's running a version newer than my Model Y is, which is kind of weird.
Do I need to do anything for the X, like book a service appointment?
Yeah, just book it as a service appointment. They've now got cameras in stock. So I booked the service appointment on the basis of it not getting software updates, and then they resolved that to be the camera problem. But you could probably just say that. And they did it in a day. So annoyingly, my car is now recalibrating its cameras. So so auto steer doesn't work.
Richard, you can't. Sorry to interrupt. Richard, you can't order it yet, because I happen to know someone else who has a Model X who is very motivated to get in cameras, and had an interaction, a short interaction with Tesla service this morning, and he was informed that the part numbers, strangely, for the Model X cameras are different, and they are not yet available.
Getcha.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, sorry, Ken, but yeah, so
that's right. Sorry to burst that bubble. I assumed, of course, that Tesla might have got in the cameras for all of the cars that need them, but you know,
evidently not.
But hey, if you have a Hardware 2 Model S, go to it. So basically, that's cars that were manufactured from about November 2016 until early 2018, I think, when 2.5 started getting shipped with the cameras already fitted, the RGB cameras already fitted.
To make you work even harder, Ken, there's something else that most legacy Model S and X owners have an opportunity of doing in the next few weeks. So what's that?
Well, I'm sure it's not news to anybody, but it's becoming the end of the month, and Tesla like to sell more cars towards the end of the month. So this quarter's incentive is, if you've got a car, it's not just for legacy cars. If you've got a car that has full self-drive, it's transferable to a new car that gets delivered this quarter. If you want to buy a new car, or you have a new car coming and you have an old car that has full self-drive, you can get Tesla to send you a form to fill out, and they'll transfer it over. Also free supercharging. If you have free
Oh,
supercharging as a feature on
really?
your older car, you can transfer it to a newer car.
Okay, that's big news.
So Richard, if you could pull your heartstrings and get rid of one of your legacy cars,
Oh,
you could slide it straight to a Highland and get free supercharging for the life of the Highland.
Yeah.
oh, that's pretty.
Technically, it has to be delivered by 31st. And the word I got from Perth sales is that's almost certainly going to happen if you order a Model Y. Slightly less likely to happen if you order a Model 3.
And definitely not likely if what you want is a performance Model Y 3. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
But
you
hey,
want-
this is not to say that that Tesla won't roll out this
No.
incentive again when they'd like to sell more cars towards the end of a quarter in the future. So if you miss it this time, just wait. They might do it again. But yeah, I've just speculatively ordered a Highland on the basis that I might get it before the end of the month. But hopefully someone will cancel a
That is-
Poverty 3 before the end of the month.
Yeah, so in fact, this has now set a precedent because when Elon Musk reluctantly allowed people to move their full self-driving FSD package to a new car from their old car, at the time he stated clearly that this was a once in a lifetime opportunity, would never be repeated. And here we are, it's been repeated. So
Clearly it was a very useful way of shifting more cars. So good on them. Let's incentivize
and
as a shareholder,
actually, like,
incentivize more people to buy cars.
and in terms of the free supercharging, it's like, well, if you're going to keep an older car which is less efficient and enjoy free supercharging, surely if you sell someone a car that's more efficient, even if you've got to pay for that free supercharging, it should in theory be less. Because
yeah, but
if
the
a
newer
car is
car
more,
will live longer, it'll last longer. So you'll be paying for less
yeah,
electricity
okay,
for longer
that's a
than
good point.
for a more electricity for less time. And
Yeah, okay,
yeah, but anyway,
fair
but look,
enough.
Yeah.
it's a great thing. It's a great initiative, and if you're in that fortunate position, or if you're in that position where it's time to move on one of your old cars, it's a much sweeter deal.
Yep.
So there you go. Alrighty. Before we slide into Cybertruck stuff, have we got any general questions on the floor, or actually, I see Shane. Oh no, you looked like you had daylight, but you must just be under lights. Oh, you've muted.
Hi folks, I've got a question.
Yes.
It's Richard here from Melbourne. I'm actually in Perth at the moment. We drove across 3 weeks ago. And on the way over, I managed to get a puncture, which manifested as a slow leak. I've managed to put a plug in there and it's holding pressure. But at some point, I'm going to have to get some new tires on the Model Y. So they're Hankook Ventus Evo 3s, and I can't seem to find any vendors for that particular type of tire. And I'm reluctant to go for a different sort and get a pair of this and a pair of that. So has anyone got any intelligence on where I might be able to source these tires? And
Richard, I'm pretty sure I bought a 4 Hankook. It's the new Evo, or I forget what they're called now. It's their new EV tire that
Ion.
fits on the Model Y, and I got that from Tyre Power. So if you just Google Tyre Power as one example, and I'm sure there are probably others in Perth.
Yeah, but they're quite expensive by comparison to the existing ones, aren't they? They're about 600.
Can't remember, to be honest. One thing that attracted me to those tires was their very hard tread wear index. Very high, should I say, tread wear index, which I think is in the order of nearly 600. And I think the tires I replaced they're in the order of 400. So it's nearly 50% harder wearing. So I
Yep.
guess if you use that offset,
Yep.
do you have a standard range, long range, or a performance? Why,
Standard
Richard?
range. Yeah,
Standard range.
standard
Oh,
range.
very good. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So you'll actually get good good uh, range. Sorry, good distance or endurance out of those
Yeah.
tires. But having said that, I got the latest greatest. Tyre Power also does other Hankook as well, so they would do the OEM version as well, no doubt. And there are many
Okay.
branches, so if they don't have it in stock, just
They
call
can get
another
it
one
in.
or ask
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any thinking on an alternative to the Hankooks, as in go for a cheaper brand like a Goodyear or something like that? Has anyone got any different sorts of tires?
If not, anyone in the
Anyone?
room?
I've
I
got
think that
Yokohamas and they've been fantastic.
Sorry, which is that?
Yokohama, I think they're called Van Yokohamas. But I've got a Model X, but I don't think that
Ah.
should make any difference. But they're fabulous in terms of or lack of noise
Yep.
and ride. They've been better than my Michelin. I'm reluctant to say that, but they've been exceptional tyres so far.
Okay. Okay, that's great. All right. Well, and the other question obviously is is it advisable to get all four, or is it better just to stick with two and just to get that balance, but not worry about replacing all four?
so. Richard, why are you changing the tire? Is it because you've had a flat in it, or is it because it's worn down?
No, it's not worn down. It's plenty of tread.
Yep. So why not? You've put yourself did you put yourself one of those slugs like from Super Cheap
Yep.
Auto? Just
Yep.
yeah. So
Yep,
why
put
don't
them
you go
myself, yeah.
to a tire repair well Tyre Power or Jax or
Yep.
whoever, and
Yep.
just say, hey, can you whip out my slug and put in a proper
So to
puncture
speak.
repair doodad? Provided,
Yep.
of course, it's the tech screw hole isn't too close to the sidewall and blah blah all that
No,
stuff.
it's pretty much in the center.
Well,
My
just
only
repair.
concern is, yeah, I've been through this before with my Model 3, and it was just before I came across the Nullarbor, so I decided to buy a new pair of tires. And they did take the tire off, and they had a look at it, and they said, yeah, it's going to be difficult to maintain the integrity of the foam padding.
Yep.
Now, whether that was correct or not, I don't know, but they seemed disinclined to just simply repair the tire. So I went with a new pair. But obviously, when you're putting the slug in yourself, you don't look at what's happening to the foam. But when they're doing the full repair, I think they do it from the other side as well.
It's on the inside. It's like you could say it's like an inside out umbrella. Or it's like an umbrella, and they just poke it in from the outside in and then pull it back, and then it basically heals it. Well, sorry, they'd have to probably take the wheel off because it's foam. They would take it off, the tire off, and then do it from the inside.
Yep.
Look, in my own personal opinion, this is not a professional opinion of any sort. Richard Chapman's in the room, and he bought my Model X after I put 220,000 kilometres on it. One of those tyres had a tech screw in it. I put a slug, which was a inverted commas temporary repair, and that temporary repair lasted for 35,000 more kilometres until the tyre was down to its wear marks, and then I replaced it. So unless,
Was Harold, was that the when you sold it to me? Did it still have the repair in the tire?
no, I'm pretty sure that had already gone. That was already that was replaced by a new tyre. Because basically the 35,000 was how long it took for the remainder of the tyre tread to wear down to need replacing. So no, Richard, you don't have. Oh, well, you've already changed the tyres already, but no,
I did, but I mean, when you sold it to me, the tyres did need replacing, and I managed to get a shock weight trip after that.
That was before. That was before then. Yeah, that was before. So that was another generation of tyres.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but that's just sort of proving the point that just that slug, they are surprisingly long lasting for what is technically a temporary repair. So Richard, I mean, look, it's entirely up to you.
I'm sure that our Model S has got a slug in it on one of the tyres. and that's been there for thousands of Ks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm reasonably comfortable leaving the slug in there and using it for metro use because
Yep.
of the road services and Tesla can come and help out. But when we embark across to go across again, I'd prefer to have something a bit more robust. So yeah, I'll check out Tyre Power and see what they have to say.
Yeah.
And just as go on.
Go on.
No, they're pretty good. One thing I might suggest is the slug in the tires at the front or the back.
It's a rear tire. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because they do say if you do have a puncture and you have to do a puncture repair, swap those tire or that tire and do a rotation and put that at the back. So yeah, but Tyre Power.
Okay.
I'm not an advocate for them, but they're our local one's pretty good. So
yeah. Okay. And what region of Perth is that?
so ours is down the hill and left, and it's Armidale.
Okay. All right.
But they're actually really good. They've been there like as old as Tyre Power. So
okay.
yeah, same family.
Yeah, all right. I'll
Just Google,
they're
Richard,
not too far
because
from me, so that's okay.
there's lots of branches. I mean, the one I went to was Claremont. I think there's quite a few branches. There's one in Willerton.
Yeah, there's
off the
one in
top of my
Willerton
head.
just down the road.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And just as a final comment, unrelated to the tires, I've heard the commentary about a particular roadhouse along the highway that people have been avoiding for a variety of reasons, and I've been through there about 5 times now, and I've had exemplary service from the staff every time. So
very good. That's Kaiguna, no doubt. That's
Yep,
the trivia.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the staff have been fantastic. Now, one guy's got a fairly surly sort of approach to things, but he's usually, he gets on with it and goes out there and has a fag in front of the diesel generator. But I've been very happy with them, and they've been very accommodating. So that's just as I guess an alternative observation.
Absolutely. Now,
And
just
thank-
as a note for the tires, like you're talking about flats and things.
Mhm.
This is what I was confronted with, and that's a Hankook. That's the new Hankook tire, and this was because the camber was put out after hitting cattle, and this tire deflated in less than 2 seconds. But I must say that the way it deflated, which was literally just went flat very quickly, and the way the car handled, you wouldn't even know there was a flat, except you can hear, the tire, basically being flat, and your car, warning you with tire pressure warning. So these cars really are very safe. I dare say if that tire exploded, the car would still be very safe. No doubt when you jacked your car, Richard, you would have noticed that as you jack up one corner, the whole same side lifts up to the point if you jack it sufficiently, you can actually swap from front to back just using one jack, which is quite
I did have
amazing.
2 jacks. I had a trolley jack and a scissor jack from the spare tire kit, so I managed to use those. But I did notice the car was rigid enough to lift, so that's pretty nifty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the tips.
No worries. Now, Tim, you've got your hand up, so I'll go straight to you, and then anyone else straight after.
Yeah, great. Just a couple of hopefully quick questions. One, so I watched last week and heard about the Charge on Solar coming online, which is fantastic. I was wondering if anyone has managed to set that up, because it just isn't by default working on my home unit. Wondering if I needed to do anything or follow anything up, or
Do you have a Powerwall?
Yep.
Oh, right. Oh, great. One thing to try is make sure that your app is updated. If you've got an iPhone, for example,
pretty
the
sure it
apps
is.
never ever update. You've got
that's
to
what
actually
I've
go
had.
to the App Store and then search Tesla. And what will quite annoyingly happen is it will actually say update available. And it's like, well, why don't you just install it? So do check just in case it's an app thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. I'm pretty sure I've got I'll do that even during this meeting. Has it been working for other people, the charge on solar showing up?
I can't update my app yet as Samsung. So I've been looking for it because I've got the full Tesla DNA. But no, it's not coming up for me yet either.
So there's actually an app update from 16 hours ago. So frustratingly on my phone, like I only found out about it when I just pressed just then. So actually, sorry, I'll just spotlight that so everyone can see. There it is right there, 16 hours ago.
Yeah, no,
Quite frustrating.
1 minute ago, Harold, and it's not up there for the Samsung.
Yeah, right.
I do
So-
have an update as well, so I'll just click that now and hopefully that'll do it.
So fingers crossed that might be sufficient to actually get this thing working. I don't unfortunately have a Powerwall. Do you know if Powerwalls ever get their own updates or anything like that?
Yes, they do.
Cool.
Yeah, so that might be something else that I need to go in and figure out. I mean, according to the specs of like what I had to the latest update of, I think I've got all that ticked off, but that I might be wrong. Like I seem to have been wrong here. So I'm pointing at this. So yeah, I'll have a look at that. But so other people have managed to have it pop up in their app.
Not that anyone knows of. The other thing too is I just looked on the preview for the app, and they do feature some Powerwall stuff. So maybe this is actually the update that'll help that out. So,
Yeah.
by all means, have a play. Sorry, I'm just trying to unspotlight
Okay.
myself, and there we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, have a play with the app, and it hopefully will
Yeah.
pretty simply integrate.
I'll have more of a play. I'll let you know. Yeah, so far, I mean, I just updated it then, and it's not just showing up, but I'll have more of a play during this meeting, and it was really just if there was some wisdom or and some examples out there for me to go off. I had another question, just around wipers. It's a pretty new car, and I'm having a bit of juddering going across. I was wondering if people by default just get a new pair of wipers of a particular brand because the ones that come with it are no good, or if there's particular wiper fluid that I should be looking at. Yeah, any experiences with juddering wipers?
Yes, I use Rain-X on my car, so I don't have to use the wipers mostly, and that can sometimes induce a bit of juddering. Or if you've had a lot of insects that you've been wiping backwards and forwards, I personally just use distilled water in the as a wiper fluid with no additive, but you can certainly add additives or whatever to it. You could try something like Windex, just spray Windex on your car and just use a Chuck's cloth or something to sort of like wipe it. That won't dry it, and then use the wipers just to wipe it off and a little bit of water and see how you go. But juddering is something that's sort of sporadic that comes and goes, just depending on what's on your windscreen and what's on your wipers. You could also put them into service mode. So you go into this, I think it's service settings, and you put them into service position, and then that allows you to basically get access to them. And you could try and get, again, like a cloth and a cleaner and just wipe down the rubber of the wiper blade,
Yeah,
and see how that goes.
great. I'll give that a go. Thank you. And one other question was just around, so obviously I'll be using the ChargeFox network up in some pretty regional areas. I've ordered, but it hasn't arrived yet, like an RF card. Is that going to be a problem? Is there generally reception at all these different DC chargers for me to use just the app to pay?
There generally is, but if you've got a MyFair card, so for example, if you have a MyFair card whose hexadecimal serial number then you can log into your ChargeFox account and enter that card number as a enrolled token to use at chargers, providing it's a MyFair card. Now, if you can't think of a MyFair card that you might have, if you've got a Transperth Smart Rider, that is a MyFair card. The only thing is, there's no way of really knowing
Right.
unless you've got a Samsung phone or should I say a Google, an Android phone. There's an app where you can actually read MyFair serial numbers. On an iPhone, you can't because that ecosystem's closed. But what you can do, if you like, is ring ChargeFox support while you're at one of the ChargeFox charger locations. So, for example, Kings Park, Kempower in Kings Park, on the WAV network. If you ring them and say, I'd like you to tell me what my MyFair card number is, and I'm at XYZ charger, and I've just badged the card and it says, you know, not authorized, they will then be able to look up that transaction and tell you what the serial number is. You just need to note it down and then log into your ChargeFox account and add that smart rider onto your account. And you can have multiple cards, so you don't have to worry that if you put one in and it'll kick one out. And if your ChargeFox card arrives in time, happy days. If not, you'll have some other token that you can use.
Great. I think I've got some old Melbourne ones as well, like the MyKeys and things like that. So I can probably even have
Which
that as dedicated.
if it's MyFair, so if you put it onto the reader and it comes up as a failed to authorize, then that would mean that it's read it, but it's not on the list. So yes, and again,
Cool.
if you don't know its
Great.
number, just ring ChargeFox and support, and they will help you through.
And another thing, Tim, is once you get away from the CBD, of course, is your coverage, your mobile coverage. That's where the RFID card comes in handy.
And if you get stuck, if you literally are at a charger and your phone doesn't have data, like you can't trigger it using the ChargeFox app, then just ring someone who can have access to ChargeFox and can start a charging session on your behalf. And if you're stuck, if you've got well, ring me on my mobile, or the official number is 62623131, and that's TOCWA's like a helpline. And if you get genuinely stuck, then one of us can just start a transaction, and then you'll just owe us a carton of beer for the charge. I actually had to do that with my wife at EV Networks in Proserpine last year, because I could not put in a valid billing method because they had changed their app and there was a glitch. So I had to ring my wife and say I'm at connector number whatever and port A or B, and she actually remotely started the transaction. So and that's something that took me a little while to actually work out I could do and should do. So for anyone else's
And just
benefit, if you're
another
ever stuck,
point,
always,
if anyone's got an EV card for the EV network, they work on the ChargeFox network as well, and they're free.
sorry, when you say the card is free, or you mean the charging through that method
Card is
becomes
free. Yeah, if you've got
Oh
an
yes,
EV,
yes.
if you've got an EV account, you can order a card and they'll post you one for free. Whereas I think
Yes.
ChargeFox is a $10 card.
Oh, it used to be free. Oh
I
right.
didn't pay for it. That was a couple of years ago, but I've not paid for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright,
I
okay,
paid.
yeah.
I think I paid $9 for them to send me a card. So,
Hmm.
so yeah, it
Yeah, right.
did cost money for me to get them to send me a card. So I'll look into that as well. The more solutions, the better. That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Now I see Ramesh has got his hand up. So Ramesh, the floor is yours.
Thanks for the opportunity. So I'm new to Teslas, and we placed the order last year, and we had the delivery day scheduled last week, Monday, and we were like 2 minutes away from the delivery center, and we received the call saying, I think they found a fault in the, I think some installed part which flagged as faulty by production team or somewhere, and they stopped the delivery. And they rescheduled the delivery for the coming Friday. And even I inquired, I never heard back from them whether they're going to deliver the car or not. Still, they are waiting for the part, and also they were kind enough to give me a loan car. So what are my options? Like, if I can they continue to delay our delivery, or what I can do on this situation? Thanks.
Okay, so the first thing is, initially at the moment, as we speak now, you're in one of their loan cars at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, that's nice of them to do that. Look, don't worry. This is something that would be quite rare for something like this to happen. And trust me, Tesla. Have you made your final payment yet?
Yeah,
Oh, you have. Of course you
everything,
have.
everything gone.
Yeah, you
everything
have.
gone.
Yeah, yes, yeah, of course you have. Look, Tesla are highly motivated to deliver this car to you. Now, parts do come from Melbourne or Sydney.
No,
Some depending.
no, they said it needs to be arrived from China.
All right. Okay. Well, that'll be by air, obviously. So, yeah. Did they mention did they say at all what sort of part it is? It's not past.
They mentioned it's something to do with the steering wheel. No any other further details. Even I asked over the text. They only
So
said the
Model Y?
yeah. No, it's a Highland.
Oh, okay. Right. So they must have found something, because the Highland does have new parts in it compared to the previous Model 3. So, look, I'd say, look, don't worry. You've already got a loan car, so be comfortable with using that, and they will get that car to you, because don't forget, it's taking up room on their premises. So, and it's not meeting their KPIs. So they are highly motivated to get it to you. Don't worry that they're going to suddenly say, oh, it'll be 6 months or something ridiculous like that. They will absolutely resolve this as soon as practicable. And after all, you've got a car that you don't have to worry about. So don't feel like you need to baby the car you have. Just treat it like a hire car. And
No. I'm doing exactly the same. Yeah.
yeah, and enjoy it. Enjoy
Yeah.
it for what it is. And it's just a preview to the awesome car that you're going to get soon.
Yeah, and
Cars
I
can do
have been
amazing
driving.
stuff.
Sorry, I have been driving SUVs and back on sedans for like after 4 or 5 years. I think it's kind of I'm doing a practice back to getting back to sedans. Yeah, I
Yeah,
take
and
that
look,
way.
and the great thing is, I dare say, if you get like a tiny bit of rim rash accidentally or something, it won't be on your car. So, it's I'd take it as a bonus that you've got a bit of a free preview, that
Of
you don't
course.
have to feel so tense about your new awesome car. So, but please, come back next week and let us know how you're going. So was it promised? It's been promised for this Friday?
Yeah, it's a tentatively booked, so they haven't
Yes.
like fully confirmed. Yeah.
Yep. Because they're literally waiting for the part to fly in. So, it'll be air
Yeah.
freight, and it'll have to go through customs clearance, and sometimes it's rapid, sometimes it's not. They'll be using FedEx or something similar, or DHL. So, look, if it's not this Friday, no doubt it'll be the next few days later, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Cool. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Thanks.
No worries. You're welcome. And congratulations on your car, albeit a slightly delayed final delivery.
Yeah, waiting.
Does anyone else? I think, Shane, I thought you might have had something to say before, but I don't know whether you actually got to say it or not. So if there was anything else, please say it now.
It's all right. Local ice truck going up the road. Yeah, it was more about the insurance. It was more about the insurance side of things. We got our latest renewal and it's gone up stupid amount, like 30% or something. My wife, spoke to them and said, can we negotiate? And they just said, no, it is what it is. And if you find something cheaper elsewhere, go elsewhere. And we thought that was a bit, considering we've been with them for a few years with other cars, we thought, okay, what's going on here? So yeah, I just thought I'd just find out what's happening with anyone else. Are they having the same issues? And I don't know if I can say who we're with or
Let me guess, is it a three-letter word that's the opposite of car?
that might be, you might be on the money there, Harold. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so as
That's just about
disappointing
right,
as a
right.
30% premium increase is,
Yeah.
if you compare it to what our brothers and sisters have to pay in the eastern states,
Yeah.
we've got it really good here. But that's not to say that it's
Oh.
still not
Ideal.
disappointing. It's still not disappointing that, or should I say, it still is disappointing that that it goes up like that. I had the same experience on my Model X. When it was brand new, was the cheapest the premium ever was, and as the agreed value went down and down and down, the premium went up and up and up until I ended up getting a cheaper quote from Budget Direct, who I
Okay.
never have used, never ordinarily would use. But in the case of my Model X, when I had it for that last year that I had it, or that last time that I had it, it was a significant saving compared to
Okay.
WA's own insurer.
Yeah.
But get quotes.
Sorry.
Get quotes. Get a whole series of quotes.
Yeah. We're just going through that whole, because we've got, my daughter's just turned 17, so we've just bought her a little car. So we're trying to, mix and match, and it's more a case of the loyalty thing, that whole thing we've had for 10 years. Nah, gotta throw
Forget
it
it.
out.
Forget it.
Head, not the heart.
Big companies treat strangers better than their loyal customers, because if
Yes.
you're a stranger, they'll give you a discount and a great deal, and if you're a loyal customer, you get
Yeah.
precisely nothing. So
Yeah.
loyalty in the 21st century counts for zero. It actually pays to be disloyal and play the field and extract any discount you can for that one time you can get it. And then, strangely enough, if you stop using that local insurer altogether and then go away for a year or two and then go back to them, they'll treat you like a new customer and give you a discount.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
In fact, Shane, if you simply get a quote,
Yep.
as if you're a new customer from your existing insurer, so just go online, just plug in the details of your car, not the rego, and
Right.
just say that you're a brand new customer. You can say your previous insurer was, whoever it was.
Right.
They'll possibly come back with a quote that's a little bit less than your renewal. And I've
Okay.
done that before with my Model 3. I got a nice cheap quote on the new car. The renewal came through at a higher price, a significantly higher price. I
Yeah,
did that,
awesome.
and then I called them up and said, I've got this quote here in front of me with a quote number, and you've offered me a renewal. It's exactly the same terms. What are you going to do? And they honored the lower price. It's only $150 difference.
Yeah.
And I
Really
tweaked the excess a little bit higher just to take on a little bit of extra load myself and reduce the premium. So you can play with some of the variables there.
Okay. That's
But
awesome,
yes, it
Richard.
does happen. And if it's any consolation, my renewal is up now. It's gone up by 50% on the new, the initial
Wow.
policy.
Yeah. Oh,
That's in Melbourne.
yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Wow, that's well, yeah, that's awesome.
Well, with RAC,
thanks
you
for
get
the
a
info.
different price every day,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they're
that-
not good to deal with. They're very arrogant to deal with.
Right.
Yep.
Anyway, no, that's great. Thanks for the info, guys. I really appreciate that.
No worries. And
I've just been able to upgrade my app on my Android phone, and that's so I've just got the new download for that. So it is available for Android.
excellent. Well, hopefully Tim will be able to report back to say that his charging on solar is working well. Fingers crossed.
You know, it's really
Peter, can you
annoying.
check?
We've got 2 Powerwalls and 2 Teslas, and we can't use it because the S and the X are both too old.
And in this quarter where you could transfer the free unlimited lifetime supercharging and FSD,
But
which
not
I know a
lifetime
certain Model
premium
X has got.
connectivity.
Well, a certain Model X that is now yours was optimistically had full self-driving purchased and put on it, and it hasn't driven a single kilometre yet.
And it probably never will.
Yeah,
Pe-
that's
Pe-
plausible.
Sorry, Peter, the version of your app on your phone, your Android phone, what version is that now?
Oh.
You have to go to the little hamburger at the top and go to settings, I think.
I haven't got an hamburger at the top.
Yeah, that's been changed in the latest.
Yeah, you have the 3 lines. Click on that.
Oh, here it is. Version
Scroll to the bottom.
3 lines now.
Yeah, version 4.30.0-2221.
Okay, that's what I've got. Okay,
That's
cool.
what I've
Thank
got.
you.
I got 25, 28. So
Yeah,
yeah.
ditto, Paul. 25, 28.
I don't have Powerwall, so who cares?
Nor do I. So I just got to charge and solder the old-fashioned way. Just dribble it in. Alrighty.
Well, actually, I charge mine off solar at work.
Very good.
So,
well,
because I've got charging for staff, so which is pretty cool.
Well, I dare say if it's work provided charging, it matters less if it's solar, normal grid, or whatever. It's work provided, so that's great.
Who cares if it's free?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Free and solar, so no one can complain about it. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to say, I actually learnt something last week because you guys were talking about the radiator, cleaning that out and that stuff. I don't know if you remember, you and Shane.
Yes.
Talked about that. So I actually did that myself.
So did you?
Yeah, there were leaves and that sort of stuff. So I got the high pressure cleaner blasted this year.
You mean from the outside, or did you
yeah,
actually pull everything apart?
Yeah, I pulled the front out and all that sort of stuff, and then took the cover off it, and then went from the top and blasted down, sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
That was pretty sweet.
Was there much in there?
Yeah,
Paul?
I had a little bit of leaves in there. So I bought yeah, there was a bit. It was probably about a third. So it probably wasn't as bad as the other boys because I haven't gone around Australia, just around the state. But I bought that cover, the fly wire cover.
Yes. Yep.
Sort of
Is that the two-piece that you stick on?
It's like click that in. And I got that for Leonie's wire as well. So I'll do that on the weekend, clean hers out and then flick that on. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought it's pretty sweet to learn something even after all these years.
Well, on that exact
something
point,
yourself.
Paul, I also had a look at mine after that thing last week. With the Y, I noticed that there is actually a flap immediately ahead of it. And I was wondering, is that there to help with the car getting warmer more quickly? It shuts the flap to keep I thought fascinating that.
Yep. So it actually can effectively shut off the bulk of the airflow going through the radiator, if just to preserve any heat or cooling or whatever it is, depending on which way it wants to go, to just stop a bit of passive cooling or heating of that radiator.
I'm sure it's entertaining when I was lying down on the grass, looking at that out in the shopping centre.
Yes, absolutely. It does look strange when you got your head poked under the car or looking. I can't remember. I don't think I actually. I'm just downloading a video of the leaves that were in my radiator, and it's shocking. It is actually shocking. So I'll just spool that up in a sec. It's just downloading to OneDrive now. Right. But look, it's something that Tesla unfortunately hasn't even indicated that that's even a possibility of happening. So I guess this is what programs like this is for, is to spread that little bit of shared knowledge that you know, even though the cars are notionally maintenance free, at least schedule maintenance free, there can be some items such as filters or radiators that may need periodic cleaning. And if you have a car that's done many dozens of thousands of kilometres, or you live in a suburb where you've got lots of maple trees or something, and you know you drive around in autumn like we all do, if you notice that the radiator fan is if it's a hot day, the radiator fan is going constantly at a high speed, even when you're stopped and just using your aircon, then that is a bit of a clue to have a look down the guts of the intake of the car and just see if you can see the leaves, and they are quite obvious if it's chockers. I'll just get this video up. In a next couple of minutes, but yeah, I'll put it up in a sec. But yeah, it's quite shocking. Alrighty. In the meantime, have we got? Oh, here it is. Just got to open it. Is there anyone else? Oh, sorry, here it is. Okay. This is the view of the radiator. So let's hit play.
Yeah, that's a lot more than mine.
That with the front removed.
Yes. And there's actually, you can see there's actually a half cut. There's like this rough filter thing. Well, it's just a bit of plastic, and you got to take that off to thoroughly clean it. And it's a little bit hard on this camera, but there's actually a whole lot of seeds and sand and stuff that's also between these very fine elements of the radiator that I had to gently pressure wash. Now the trick is, don't overdo it because you'll instantly just bend all these fins. So do it from a sort of like a safe distance and just see how you go and moderate what you're doing, so you don't wreck the fins, because then you'll permanently block them.
Wouldn't it be
But,
better? Wouldn't it be better to vacuum it, Harold? Once
I
you
did
got the-
exactly that. Yeah, I basically just brushed off all the leaves and let them fall to the ground, and then I had a Dyson and I vacuumed out all of these with like a floor cleaner, what's the name of the little rolly? It's like a motorized roll thingy head.
Oh, head.
And your power head. Thanks, Steve. And sucked out about a cup full of sand and very fine bits. And then after all of that, I then gently pressure washed it just to get a bit more sand going through the radiator and out, and then thoroughly cleaned it.
That was in your
now,
wa-
Paul, that's
Yeah,
my Model Y. So, Paul, did you do your Y or your 3?
I did the 3. I'm doing the Y this weekend.
So with the 3, were you able to unclip the top part just by taking the frunk out and nothing else?
I took the frunk out, and there's a black plastic
The front
cover
liner, sorry, the
over it.
front liner. Yep.
Oh yeah, front liner, took that out, and then
Yep.
over the radiator there's like a black plastic liner, and there's some
Yes.
clips on the top and the sides.
And you were able to
They
unclip that
pulled
without doing anything else.
back. Yeah, I had to actually sort of prop that because there was some bit where it wouldn't
Couldn't remember.
unhitch, so I was just like, I had a look, and like since it's a 3, it's quite little, so I was able to look right in and all that stuff. So I used the Dyson and sucked out as much as I could, and then I just sort of had the high pressure cleaner and had it at a distance and sort of blasted it out, and yeah, it was really good. So it was nowhere near as bad as yours, and I've done 85,000 Ks, but I did have a bit in there, so I'm
Yep.
not sure how much stuff I actually got. So
Mine's done
but
90,
it was, I took
92.
photos, but they're pretty.
Yep. Yeah, cool.
Need
So
to
it's
buy
close.
another one
So
next week,
so
and
it's
then
very, very close. Okay, Andrew, you've got your hand up
took me
patiently.
4.5 years to get there.
Oh, well, my car, I got delivery of my car in the middle of April last year, so it's not a year old yet. Not that I'm bragging. Andrew, you got your hand up. The floor's
Yeah,
yours.
just a quick question about the Mandurah supercharger. I see that they've dropped the pin somewhere along that road near the servo. Obviously, it's probably supposed to be a destination for people to stop off on their way down south, down Forest Highway. But does anyone have any idea where exactly that they might actually set up their chargers there?
Alex Davis lives in
He's-
Mandurah.
He's in the house.
Yeah, I'm
Alex is
here.
in the house.
No, there is no word or anything that's been done. There's no site works that's been done on the charger site, but yeah, there's a couple of locations it could be. So it's just basically a wait and see game. But I think Tesla at the moment are basically saying that it's opening in 2024, so this year. It's just a matter of when and where.
Yeah, because where they've dropped the pin is just a whole bunch of residential properties, large residential properties. And the only real thing around there is the service station. So what's your hunch?
At the moment, I know there's a trailer mob that's on that service station at the moment, so I don't know if they're leasing the property or what they're doing. So that's my little hunch. That's where it's probably going to go. I think it's where the BP is. I think what that service station is there. So
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that was my only question. Thanks, guys.
no
On
worries.
Pinjarra Road?
On Pinjarra Road.
Sometimes those pins just they almost drop as like a Google thing of if you specify a suburb or a town, the pin just goes nowhere logical. Like I think when there was going to be a Perth supercharger before it was changed to a Perth North, which was Carridup, the pin was somewhere in Northbridge, but that was really a function of how Google would describe what Perth is with a generic pin. So don't put too much emphasis on the actual pin location specifically. It might be a rough guide or it could be completely off.
No, you're correct there, Harold. If you type in Pinjarra to Google Maps, that's where Google puts the pin for Pinjarra. So it's just a location.
Yep.
So it might not even be on Pinjarra Road at all. That's entirely plausible.
It could go where.
Oh, that's interesting. So that pin is the default one for Pinjarra, is it?
Yes, James, you're muted. But I presume, James, you just had a look on Google and that's what it says. That's where it is.
Yeah, last time we talked about this, you just type in Pinjarra and it's exactly where it drops the pin. So it could be over near the bakery on Southwest Highway for all we know. It could be anywhere. That is the
Or
default.
it could be in the
location
heart
if
of
you-
Mandurah.
Yeah, yep.
Okay,
Yep.
well back to square zero then.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yes. So never, if ever you see, unfortunately for Tesla, it's frustratingly rare for them to actually put pins on where there are truly superchargers coming. So for example, there is no pin for the upcoming Kojonup supercharger, which we know is going in, and there is no pin for the Albany supercharger, which again we know is going in. And the thing is, we know about Albany because it appeared in council documents a couple of years ago, and Kojonup is co-locating with the WAV network, not too far from where the current Tritium charger is in Kojonup. So there'll be a co-located WAV network, Kempower 150 kilowatt dual-headed fast DC charger, and there'll be a 3 or a 6 stall, probably a 3 stall supercharger right next door on the same block of land at Kojonup. And on the 13th, I think if I recall correctly, that Sandra Giri, who is the Synergy's design and discovery practitioner, who kindly gave up some of her time last week to give us an update. I think there's a power outage due on the 13th of April. I think I'll just check if that's correct.
April or March?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
March. 13th of
March, sorry. WAEV. I just check the PDF and it just probably was March. Oh yeah, sorry. Here it is. Here it is. 13th of March in Albany. And in fact, I believe if you click on the icon on ChargeFox for the Albany icon, I think it actually tells you. I think there should be a blue notification. I'll just check that. If you click on Albany, and yes, so on the app, Western Power planned outage for the 13th of March. So that's for anyone who is actually in Albany, that it'll be out for the entire day, and possibly longer, but hopefully not.
Just as a follow up on the Mandurah one, sorry to hang on this for so long. What about the? Is it going to be a V4 and how many stalls?
Don't know, and don't know. So I believe, I haven't actually had the time to check this myself, but I believe that a version 4 has been installed elsewhere in Australia, but it'll come down to, does Tesla have any, let's call it old stock, that may already have been purchased or transferred or delivered somewhere, that's already been allocated for, say, Mandurah or Kojonup for that matter, or Albany. Albany, we know, is a 6 stall. Kojonup, I personally think it's going to be probably the same as Williams, which is a 3 stall. And Mandurah is impossible to tell, because one precedent we just had was the new supercharger at Coogee, and that's a 6 stall. So possibly Tesla's going to deem it fit to have 6. They'll come usually in 3s. So it'll either be a 3 or a 6 stall supercharger setup in Mandurah. All right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, and look, and don't feel bad about focusing in on your local supercharger. For us who've had Teslas for a few years, we've been very long suffering for Perth's mythical supercharger once the one at Eton was installed in 2017. And there was a pin actually for Perth, and it promised 2017 and 18 and 19 and I think 2020. And I think we eventually got it in, I can't remember now, 2021, 22, something like that. So yeah, it's all good. Alrighty, has anyone else got any other questions or comments?
Yep, just
Shane, go.
First of all, well, I'm going to head off soon. I've got a big day tomorrow. But first of all, thank you for the thing about the radiator, because my wife's going on a girls' weekend down south this weekend for the long weekend. And I'm going to do a before and after shot of the radiator just to see, where she's gone and stuff. But secondly, and most importantly, does she just need obviously she's got the Tesla app, but all the wineries and stuff that they're going to be doing, does she just need the ChargeFox app? Would that be enough for the non-Tesla charging places down there?
A lot of them, if you look on PlugShare, so I'll just bring up PlugShare.
Right. Yep.
So you need PlugShare to know where they are, unless they are actually a Tesla destination charger, in which case those locations will be on the map.
Okay.
In the car. So what you do is you just press the lightning bolt on the on the middle left-hand side of your navigation screen, underneath where it shows your north up satellite view. If you've got premium connectivity, it'll also have an option to show car congestion status of various major routes and whatever. So just scanning
down there on a long weekend.
Is that Margaret River?
Margaret River, Yelling. I think they're staying at Yelling Up and then doing their thing.
Okay, so if you look on PlugShare, there's quite a few locations. I'm not familiar. Well, by the way, you've got the superchargers at Margaret River, but you've also at the shopping centre where the supercharger is, you've also got 3, I think it's 2 or 3 destination chargers.
Yeah,
so,
okay. That's the thing. I'm trying to tell her not to just rely on the Tesla chargers, because they either be not working or full, and you'll have to wait. So to move to another. place.
Yeah, so if we change the filter, so we've got 5 plugs showing at the moment. If I change the filter and I remove 3-phase, because you won't have that adapter, and take off Tesla and just have Type 2,
yeah,
then this shows, and also DC, this shows all the places where it's just Type 2, where you might need a cable. But some of these locations, like House of Cards Wine, I think it's a Porsche destination charger, and I could be wrong. The description says, it doesn't say, so you look at the photo, and this is an EO, right? This is an EO, so you need a Type 2 cable, as you can see here.
Right.
So put that in the car for her.
Yeah.
If you go, this is near Yallingup. There's another place, Aravina Estate, and this is, again, you need a Type 2 cable. Oh no, you don't. Sorry, it has one. It's tethered. It's got one dangling, so you've actually got plugged in. So this one you don't need a cable. It comes with it.
Because where she's staying, they've said they're EV friendly. Just bring your charger cable, can charge overnight. So.
Right. Well, in that case, just bring the UMC, the Universal Mobile Connector, which is your 10 amp or your 15 amp tails, and you can just plug it in overnight. You'll get 120 k's of range added overnight, which, if she's there for a few days, would probably be almost enough. But don't forget, you've always got Royal service at Margaret River, which is not very far from Yallingup, and they are version 3 superchargers, which will charge very quickly, and they're very reliable.
All right, well, that's awesome. Awesome. Again, thank you, everyone.
No worries. All right, cheers. Take care, Shane. And we just got Glenn, who's got their hand up. So the floor's yours, Glenn.
Hi, guys. I hope you can hear me. I'm not sure.
Yes, gotcha.
First time I've used Zoom.
Gotcha, loud and clear.
Just picked up my Model 3 last Friday. Absolutely loving it. I'm a bit of a tech geek, so I think I spent the first day inside the car. Absolutely, I use it for work. I was a bit dubious about using it for work. I do photography, so I drive in between jobs all day long, in and out of the car, but it's actually just brilliant in terms of the calendar side of it. I put all my jobs in, and you get in the car, it knows where you're going.
Yep.
I had CarPlay in my previous car. I don't miss it at all. The only thing I probably miss is just text messages, like using Siri to dictate text messages. But other than that, really, everything's been going great. And I don't think I've put my foot on the brake since I've had the car. It's just absolutely brilliant.
Tip:
So
if you're
smooth.
doing jobs where you're in and out of the car, and you won't be out of the car for too long, don't forget, you probably already know this, but don't forget you can actually keep the air conditioner running. So before you leave the car, press keep on, and then it stays nice and cool.
Yeah, so I've been doing that as well. Since I've got it, it hasn't really been that hot. The first day I got it, it was 39 degrees, and I was in my garage sitting in the car, and I didn't feel it. It was just brilliant. So first EV, and so far so good.
Fantastic. You've made a great choice. Was it a Model Y or a Model 3?
Model 3.
Yeah. Excellent.
Just the standard range.
Yep. And was it? Sorry, you just got it now, or you got it a little while ago?
Last Friday.
Oh, so it's the Highland. So it's the latest, greatest.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The whole experience from go to woe, to be quite honest, was great. I mean, totally different than the normal experience.
Yep.
Picking up the car, the guys down there were great. We spent probably an hour going over the car, because there's lots of videos on what to check and what to look out for, and so far so good.
Question, roundabouts without stalks, how are you getting on?
To be quite honest, not an issue at all. I actually, when I first got it, I bought these. I saw a video buying these little, small, tiny dots that you could stick on maybe the left indicator, for example, to so you could feel it if you sort of got, if you were disorientated. but I put it on and it never, it would stay, it wouldn't stick on there. So there's a line, a little ridge between the left and the right buttons. And all you need to really do is know that the left indicator is at the bottom of that ridge. And to be quite honest, I don't even look at it.
You go in a roundabout when your steering wheel is probably 180 degrees turned and the indicators on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side, or vice versa.
Sort of you just with your right, I mean, you don't have to keep your left hand on it. You just use your right hand. And again, you just feel for that ridge and press the button. I mean, I don't know what would happen if it was like a emergency situation where I get flustered or something, but so far, without any pressure, it's been fine. No, it's not an issue at all to me.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I mean, that's great for someone who's not familiar with a Tesla, like it's your first car. Sorry, it's your first Tesla, and it's great to hear that positivity.
Yeah.
Because I must admit, yep, go on.
Sorry.
No,
I was going to say, yeah, so far so good. The only thing I've probably, I'm parking about 5 miles further than I normally would because I'm scared of someone bumping into it with their cars or whatever. But great experience so far.
That's something that we all get over with the new cars. You see every old bomb at one stage was a showroom stunner. And
exactly.
You know how you promise things like, oh, I'm going to wash it every week. I'll put towels on the white seats because, if I carry something, I don't want to mark it or whatever. And, those sort of promises are a little bit like New Year's Eve resolutions. They don't last very long.
Exactly.
And then it just becomes a normal workhorse.
I've got white seats in my previous car, a little Kia. Because I'm driving and working sort of all day, I'm always eating. I feel like I'm eating non-stop during the day, just snacking or eating a sandwich in the car. This car, like you've said, Harold, I've said, no, I'm not eating in it. So my lunch is in my boot. I think I've already lost 2 kilos this week since I've had the car.
Well, there's a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because my lunch and my esky is in the boot. So now every time I come back from a job, I just eat there before I close my boot. So it's actually probably going to work out better because I was eating too much in the car.
Yeah, when you're over all that, Glenn, don't worry about the white seats. I've done 80,000 Ks in them. They're totally cleanable. They're a non-issue.
Yeah, I've heard reports all over the place that they're so easy. I've got the water-based baby wipes just in case, but yeah. Probably spend a fortune on accessories. Harold. That's the only problem.
Say again, Richard.
Harold, I've got a confession. A 3-year-old now eats in your old car, and it ain't very clean.
You know what? I always believe that you should put your exes behind you, and I have
got your old
one. Now, incidentally, my car's done 93,000 kilometers, and I deliberately, not because I'm lazy, even if I might be as well, I have not cleaned my white seats ever. And I'm literally waiting until it hits 100,000 Ks so I can do a video. I must admit, I did do a little preview on the passenger seat because a couple of marks on it. And what I've so far heard is the most effective is hot water and a microfiber cloth. With nothing else. I've actually tried Windex and it didn't really clean it as well as I would have liked. So at 100,000 Ks, I'm going to give hot water and a microfiber cloth a go.
Just do one half of one seat and video it.
Exactly. Yes. It'll be a with and without test.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've got 8,000 Ks to go, so it should be a few weeks, and I'll do that test at 100,000 Ks. Alrighty. Now, I think we were talking about cars that might have been crashed or didn't want to be dented or whatever. That reminds me of something I saw on Reddit, which is this RAM. Looks a bit sad and looks like it's rammed into an immovable object or something. And I guess you'd want to know, well, what the hell did that thing hit? And that's what it hit, was the back of a Cybertruck. And apart from obviously this plastic bumper piece being superficially damaged, it's just left a bit of a RAM stamp imprint on the back of the. That'll buff out.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's not even a joke, because if you look at these panels, it's totally straight. It hasn't dented it. It hasn't affected the tailgate at all. And that will probably, on a generous buff, just buff out, literally.
That looks Ford tough, Harold.
And if you look at this car, I think that needs a bit more of a buff.
The write-off, apparently.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
So I'd be voting for this car, for this Cybertruck any day, in a heartbeat.
And a broken ego of the Ram driver.
Yes. And the thing too is, I don't think it had the headline, but speaking of new cars, he was only 450 miles in.
Oh.
So that's what, 650 Ks into his ownership experience, and his cars needs a buffing.
It's about 40,000 accidents for you, Harold. You do that many month in a day.
Yes, I wasn't going to relive the thing that, once you've hit a cow in a Tesla, you don't worry about paint chips and stuff. But anyway, alrighty. Has anyone else got any questions or comments before we go to the next Cybertruck segment?
I've got a question, totally
Go,
unrelated.
Richard.
I've got Starlink on my roof, which I'm very happy with. I think I've talked to you about this a while ago. But in a few months' time, I've got a meeting down in Byford, and there's no internet where they are. There's no reception, nothing. Can I take my Starlink down there, and how hard is it to get it to work? Just for a weekend.
It will probably, so you've got Starlink Home, so it's $129 a month or something. Yeah. And you're north of the river, so it's very possible. It's very possible that it'll just work anyway. Very possible these days.
Right.
If it doesn't, all you need to do is log into your account and change your address to the Byford address.
Oh.
And then it should start working very quickly. It'd be better if you can try it like a day before or something, like just in case. If you really, really, really needed it, although it's a pain, I don't know if you can unwind this, but you could pay the extra money to do the roaming version, and that will guarantee it will work straight away. But that costs an extra $40 a month. So, look, it's definitely worth a red hot try. And at worst, you might just have to log in using your phone or something, with internet, and change your address temporarily, and then change it back. And don't worry about the warning that Starlink says that, you might not be able to process your change going back home because that area might be full for service. Perth's not full, so you don't have to worry if you have to change your address back.
Yep. Okay, cool. Thank you.
But if you were a lot closer, like let's say you were within, say, 10 kilometers, guaranteed to work.
Right.
You're probably looking at 40 kilometers or so. Yeah, it will probably work without changing the address.
Cool. Thank you.
Alrighty. Any other questions or comments before we go to a Cybertruck video? All right, let's do it. It goes for a few minutes.
Sorry, the roaming plan for Starlink, does that allow you to move at a slow speed?
Oh, yes.
And have a connection?
Yes. Its official limit is, I think, 16 kilometers per hour. So it's great for internet on horseback. or if you're on like a longboat in the UK, I think they're called longboats or something like that. Richard, you know, Chapman, what are they called? The long skinny
Narrow
boats.
I've hired one. Yeah, canal boat.
Narrow boats.
Narrow boats. Thanks, James. That's the
Oh, yeah.
one. So
Thanks, mate.
now I have to confess that I have a Starlink that I have cut out of its housing and de-shafted it, demotorized it, and I've siliconed it to the underneath of my glass roof of my Model Y. And what I learnt was when Starlink introduced the roaming plan, which is $174, which I did do. They also introduced another plan, which is something like $400 a month or something ridiculous, which is their premium roaming plan. And that's for use with like aeroplane, with like fast moving vehicles. What I learnt is, and I did this on a test trip to Lancelin, was if you have your Starlink app open on your phone and connected to the Starlink while you're driving, it'll come up with a notification that says, we have detected that you are in motion in violation of the roaming terms and conditions. And basically it stops giving you internet. And I thought, oh no, this is really bad. So what I did was I turned off the Starlink and I turned off the Starlink app in my phone. And as long as the Starlink app in your phone is not live and running, for the time being, the Starlink works perfectly. So on the 3 laps I've taken this Starlink around Australia, it's worked everywhere without complaining. But you cannot have your Starlink app on while you're in motion. If you're stopped, you can do it. So if you've got an RV or something, they permit you to basically use Starlink anywhere on Earth, basically, as long as you're not moving. But just turn your app off. It sort of doesn't realize it's moving or doesn't care that it's moving, and it works. Oh, and you can also suspend the service on a monthly basis. So it might cost you $174 a month, but if you only do a road trip every now and then, just enable it for the month that you're going to use it, and then just cancel the next renewal and put it on ice for a bit.
That's great. You didn't have any problems with disabling the motor for it to face the correct way?
Yeah, so one lap that I did, I basically sort of suspended it with a bit of gaffer tape and a couple of bits of foam against the headrest on the passenger seat, and I let the actual shaft flail around. And what it would do is it would sort of like bend a little bit, and then it would turn on its own axis, and then after a couple of minutes it would sort of give up and throw up an error on the app to say that there's a fault with the motors, like a motor might be stuck. So if you look at some YouTube videos on people hacking into Starlinks, a much more effective method, and if you don't want to completely destroy your Starlink, is you can drill like a small hole in the correct location and just unplug the motor connector, and the Starlink realizes that the motor's not connected and doesn't even attempt to move, and therefore doesn't give you error messages saying it can't move. So that's one method. Or you can just, if you're going to use it just for your car, or fix it to a caravan, for example, if you've got you can't have anything metallic above the Starlink, or you can't have solar panels, for example, above it. But as long as you can see you can go through glass or plastic or wood, or actually probably just glass plastic, yeah, you can just mount it permanently, straight upwards or flat.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
It's a game changer. Look, the WA police are implementing it on all their remote vehicles. So all of their off-road vehicles, they're implementing it for voice. And the great thing is, when you've got a Starlink in the middle of nowhere, bearing in mind, you drive to Lancelin, there are dead spots. There are, even somewhere as close as Lancelin, there are places where you have zero mobile phone coverage, you can use Wi-Fi calling, and the quality is excellent.
And I'm sure the WA Police is paying a pretty penny for the service. And I've heard a lot of big companies that operate remotely in WA are implementing Starlink as well. I'm sure they're all paying a pretty penny.
You'll be
Which is
surprised at how many places I've seen Starlink terminals. Between Jerramungup and Hyden, there's lots of railway tracks for the wheat trains and stuff, and there was like this little. It was like a 20-foot sea container, well, a donga, next to the tracks, and it had a shaft and a Starlink terminal for internet. Don't know why.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
for
in some little
all the
town.
servicemen. Yeah, so for the servicemen to come in, they operate, do maintenance and stuff. Yeah, that's exactly what I've witnessed them doing. Certain
Yep.
other companies,
Yep.
pipelines and stuff like that. And
Well,
the only other
mining's a
option
big
before
one.
Starlink was microwave antennas. They had to build their own private networks.
Yes,
there is
now
no
Construction comms
cellular.
up on
So
site is construction comms are all over it up in the Pilbara. You wouldn't believe how many they've got up there now. So yeah, all the big mobs are all over it if you've got to build something in the middle of nowhere.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
In fact, this is the off-grid NRMA off-grid site at Earl Dunder. It's about 190 k's south or roughly south of Alice Springs, and there's your Starlink for comms. They're popping up like mushrooms everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Wonderful to see.
and the best part is, the more remote you are, the better service you'll get. So it's more likely you'll absolutely get 200 megabits per second download and 15, 20 megabits per second upload, and low latency, 30 milliseconds, depending on location. It's amazing.
That's another thing. You get surprisingly good latency with Starlink because the hops can be more direct than the terrestrial cables sometimes, especially the international links.
Yes, and in fact,
yeah.
Elon Musk's stated intention is they now have laser links between the Starlinks themselves, and because those laser links are going through a vacuum, the speed of light in a vacuum is faster than fiber optic cable. So the intention is to eventually provide a premium service which has even lower latency at orbital altitudes than ground-based directly connected fiber optic cable. Because the speed of light in a fiber optic cable is, I think, 60% of the speed of light in a vacuum.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible.
Sure is. Alrighty. Now this is that there was talk about whether the Cybertruck can go through floodwaters, and I'm just going to try and find. We might as well just go to the better footage, and
Go, guys. Let's get it going. We are starting to accelerate. We're going to go a bit faster this time. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. That is crazy, dude. Oh my goodness, bro. That is insane. Bro, that is way too deep. That is way too deep. You got to get out of there, bro. Oh my goodness, bro.
there you go. The Cybertruck can go through some floodways.
Harold,
And
You should contrast it with your Model Y waiting.
Yeah, no, let's not. I actually had similar damage because towards the end of the video, they actually show.
Front was making. Wow.
Oh, now by the way,
What?
don't do this because this is quite stupid.
That's crazy.
Because what that did.
Wow. What a beast. Okay, guys, the front was making a little bit of a rattling sound. You could see the little fender piece was in the way, but we popped it back in. Shouldn't be a biggie. Obviously, this was like an extreme flood test. Shouldn't be a biggie.
It is a biggie because he's lost all of these pop-in doodads, and it's not their car either. It's a borrowed car.
Obviously, this was like an extreme flood test. Besides that, and the little piece here in the back, that seems like the only issue so far. So right here, there's this little plastic.
Take it from someone who's got a bitter experience. You can pull off entire panels going fast through floodwaters. So that was a very stupid thing to do. And later in the video, it showed that they could no longer open or close the vault using the buttons because they must have gotten wet, or actually not the buttons, but behind. But I think that probably ended up drying later on. But anyway, it does prove the Cybertruck can go through some depth of water. Certainly more than a Model 3 or a Model Y can, that's for sure. Alrighty, got any other questions or comments in our last 25 minutes of this awesome show?
Did you guys cover the Plaid in the early news? Sorry, I wasn't here at the beginning. Model 3 Plaid.
The Plaid, oh, no, sorry, I didn't really. Yeah, thanks, James. That's true. So there was now that was in Spain, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. So clearly Tesla are filming some promotional videos, which they curate quite well. And I believe that there were quite a few people taking photos of it's not Plaid, it's the Ludicrous Model 3 or Model 3 Performance, because it's definitely got the Ludicrous badge on it from Spaceballs, not the Plaid badge, also from Spaceballs. But I sort of didn't mention it because in one sense it's irrelevant to see a test unit. I guess what really matters to all of us is when it will appear on our order page on Tesla's website. And I haven't actually looked today, but I'm pretty sure it's not there at the moment in anywhere in the world. And I guess the presumption is it's going to first come out from Shanghai, so we should hopefully get it sooner than later. But you know, James, to be honest, selfishly, I'm really hankering for a Ludicrous Highland Juniper
Beast.
Model Y. No. Well, as an in-betweenie, a Juniper Model Y, Ludicrous. Yeah, I mean, we all know that I'm really hankering for a Cybertruck, but I think a lot of us are. And look, Elon, you know, you tweeted out after hours US time that the Roadster is going to be re-announced at the end of this year and start production next year. Just do the right-hand Cybertruck, please. Right-hand drive Cybertruck, please. There are literally probably tens of thousands of us in Australia that have got one on order and will take it straight away. And look, if you can sneak it in before November this year, you know, TOCA is going to do probably a record-breaking elongated convoy of if you multiply the number of cars by the number of kilometers they're going to drive on a return journey, it'll probably be one of the biggest road trips undertaken by a group of EVs collectively. And that's in November. So look, Elon, I know you're watching. Let's just bring a Cybertruck in. We'll even look, you don't even have to give it to us. We can just borrow it. We'll look after it. Anyway, alrighty. Anyone else got any comments or questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna have to just like play Video Killed the Radio Star and have a break.
I was like, did anyone see the latest Optimus robot walking around?
Yes.
Everyone tweeted that.
It looked.
I
It
freaking
still
freaked
looked.
out.
It still looked constipated.
Constipated.
It still looks like an 80-year-old. It looked.
Yeah,
I think there
forward
were some
shuffle
jokes.
too.
It sort of shuffles like Joe Biden, very deliberately, very well balanced.
I think he's quicker than Joe Biden.
Oh, dearie
Not by
me.
far.
I'll just try and get that one. Optimus.
Oh, look, I'll chime in with a comment and a question.
Yes.
It's Tim again.
Yes, Tim.
Just for all of you playing at home, I haven't managed to get the Charge on Solar working yet, but it seemed like my Model Y needed a software update, which is also pretty fun and exciting. So I'm just updating the Model Y. For those interested, it's 2024.2.7. I didn't realize that it didn't automatically show up on my apps, but when I went into the car to see what was going on, and I went into the check for software update section. Anyway, so I'm 30% through installing that, so I don't know if it'll finish by the time this is done, but I'll let you know if that fixes my problem. And then I had one other question that I was thinking
Yes.
of, which is I've got two lots of roadside assistance. Obviously, I've got the Tesla one, and I've also got RAC. I was just wondering if in the middle of nowhere, which one you would pick up and call first.
Look, you might as well. Well, it won't matter because it'll be the RAC that'll deliver it anyway. To be perfectly honest, so if you're midway between Nyanyatara and Karratha, it will be the RAC acting on Tesla's behalf.
Right,
So,
gotcha.
and I presume, I haven't had RAC coverage for decades, since when I was a lot younger and driving crappy cars. There's no cost, is there? If you've got roadside assist, it's free to use a number of times, providing it's not petrol.
Depends on what level you have.
Yeah, so I
They have different levels in RAC.
the person I spoke to on the phone the other day, because I actually had it on our old car, the roadside assistance, because I was like, I don't need it on the Tesla. I've got it for free. But we don't use the other car at all now. And yeah, this is the first time I've ever had a nice car as well. So there's all sorts of new learnings. Never even had comprehensive insurance before, so that's there's nothing really been worth insuring previously. But they said that you get 2 free tows up to 200 kilometers. And if they can't fix it at any of the places, and she was like, and most likely because it's a Tesla, we won't be able to fix it unless it's a puncture or something like that, then they tow it back to Perth for free, which I thought was pretty good as a little policy there. So yeah, and I don't think it costs me anything else for the roadside assistance. I didn't even know I still had it. So yeah, I just moved it over to the Tesla.
Yeah, right, cool. Well, I guess you've got belts and braces, so you've sort of got a double up, but I dare say they would work interchangeably. So
yeah, okay, cool.
And fingers crossed, you're going to have a spare tire with you. That's the greatest threat would be a catastrophic flat. If you've got a tech screw, as long as you've got a compressor with you, whether it's a cigarette lighter or whatever you call it, 12-volt power source compressor, which you can energize from the car, or a battery, like a lithium battery one, that'll easily handle things like a tech screw slow leak. And in fact, you could just go from roadhouse to roadhouse and just keep topping up. you know, for a slow leak. And then, of course, once you get to Karratha, say, you could then just get it fixed at one of the tyre joints.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
But-
actually got both of those options for the pumps, and I've also got, as you suggested, those little plug lug kits.
Yes, perfect.
So I think I'll be. It's probably unlikely I'll even touch the spare tire, but very good to have in case it's a really bad blowout.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's what I had just south of Alice Springs, you know, just before midnight a couple of weeks ago. So these things never happen at opportune times or places for that matter. Now, just something I can't exactly remember if I mentioned it. Let me just bring this image up. But a little pro tip that you might not think about in the heat of the moment, and that is, you'll see, oops, where I'm located. It's actually on the left side. So ordinarily, of course, you park on the left side of the road, but that would mean I'd be off the shoulder. I'd be jacking the car up on the shoulder, which sort of falls away. So what I did was I actually went to the wrong side of the road and just near where the edge where the bitumen is, so I could actually jack the car up, put the jack on solid bitumen rather than soft shoulder.
And then you can
So
jack
that's just like,
you can jack the car down the hill. It just slides down the hill and goes away.
oh yeah, sort of, yes, but
Okay. That's brilliant.
so that was just it's a minor thing, but sometimes in the heat of a moment you just don't think about something like that. What also makes it safe though is with the front of the car heading towards the oncoming traffic, a little bit like pedestrians, it's easy for you to tell if there's a car coming your direction because you just need to look towards the front of the car to see if anything's coming that way. So just a little thought that I'd never thought of until I was in the heat of the moment, literally searching for a good spot to pull over on a dead flat tire.
Wow.
So yeah, so interestingly, I think it was Tim, you mentioned the software version 2024.2.7. So this is for, well, Russell, who might be interested, who's watching this video and probably yelling at us, yelling at the screen. And for Ken, who was with us earlier, that's exactly the same software version that Ken's Model S was updated with earlier. So it means it sounds like the old legacy S's and soon to be Model X's are now going to get unified software versions, which is pretty good. Alrighty.
I've got a question. Yeah.
Yes,
If
Richard.
anyone can figure out what I've made here, you can have it. I'll make you a better one. It's very useful. I've got one in each of my Teslas.
It's semicircular. I was initially going to say it's a phone charger thing for something else, but that's not what we have these days. It's semicircular.
Is it for
People who aren't very tall. Sorry?
Glasses holder?
so what?
No, it's for people who aren't terribly tall. And there's one issue I've always had with my Tesla. And I fixed it.
Strangling you.
Seatbelts?
Yeah, it's a strangling belt thing, yeah.
Yes.
So my seat belt cuts across my neck because I'm short and it
Oh.
doesn't come down far enough.
Yeah.
With my wife. So anyway, the ones in the car are grey, not
Oh,
yellow.
cool.
And it just clips in, rolls, rotates, and the belt goes through there, clips in beautifully,
Yeah.
and it just drops the drops it about 4 centimeters so it doesn't rub on your neck. And
Oh,
if in
cool. Yeah.
action, it will just
That's a
flex.
good idea.
So
So
there you go.
Paul, so we can see actually if we just, I'm just going to spotlight
Yeah.
Paul for a moment.
Yeah.
Oh, that worked really well. That was me. Why is it me and not Paul? Sorry.
No,
So-
we
Oh,
got
here we
Paul.
go.
Can I pull that?
No, I can
Yeah.
see it.
So
Takes about 15 seconds to fit and half a minute to remove. Yeah, it just doesn't go low enough for me and it drags out. So I've always got to stuck
No.
it under my collar. So with
Yeah,
this,
because Leonie's got the same thing. She's
Yeah.
put like one of those
those padding things on.
lamb things on there, but it still
Yeah.
sort of garrots her. Yeah.
Yeah. So that works a treat. So
So you're making them.
I just got a 3D printer and I'm trying new designs and stuff. So
Did
Yeah,
you
very
make
good,
steel
Richard.
or
So you're
download it?
selling that or?
No, whatever. I don't know. That's about
So
20 cents
so
worth of.
so I believe this will be available on richardsstore.com.au
Well, you know,
for
what's that
Smart.
convenience worth to somebody?
$15 delivered.
Yeah.
You never know, that might happen. But yeah, so I'm trying new designs to make it easier to make, and yeah, but it works a treat.
Oh, cool.
Really good. Yeah.
Very good.
It's not,
Did you?
not a safety issue because it's just not a safety issue, and it's
Yeah,
removable.
because in a crash, in fact, you'll notice. I'm not sure if the.
Irrelevant.
I think they've got pre-tensioners anyway. In the part that retracts, there's a little gas turbine thing that will pull the seatbelt tight, and you've also got tear away. If you're in the driver's seat, you look to the lower right where you've got the seatbelt attached to the side of the seat near your hip. There's stitching that's intended to break away.
That's for your airbag.
No, that's for your seatbelt, so
okay.
that I think it forms a little bit of stress release because you've got to actually tear the stitching, which is strong stitching, so it's a very severe impact. But it sort of like relieves, it gives you a staged relaxing of the seatbelt during the impact.
So the
of
reason
your
I'm
body with it.
The reason I'm not worried about safety is all it does, it changes it just changes the angle about 5 degrees, and that's it for about an inch and a half. So
yeah, no, it's fine.
So shall I make some?
Look, richardsevstore.com.au, $15 delivered, and it's yours.
I made some out of PLA, but car gets over 60 degrees and then it warps a bit. But I made some out of PETG, and it's fine, but it's a bit harder to print. So I'll have a play then. I'll leave it with me. But it's so your wife's got the same problem, Paul.
Yeah, with the Y. So she's quite funny. So her things here is all like a little black lamb, almost strangling her.
Yeah. Okay. Leave it with me.
She's sitting in it's hilarious because she's that short that if she's on the other side of the car, I can't see her.
I love it.
So does that mean if you look at her car from behind, you go, oh wow, FSD really has become a thing, and this car really is driving by itself?
If she's on the other side of her Y, yeah, she's shorter than the apex of the top of the car. But of course she can see over mine because mine's a little sports car, so or a little toy car in comparison.
That's right. Her Model Y is superior to your 3. Although that's controversial.
Oh, she tells me that all the time now.
She has
Mine
good
still
taste.
goes quicker.
Wait till the Juniper, Paul. Wait for the Juniper. Juniper Ludicrous.
On my Cybertruck now.
Yeah, true.
Juniper's going to be
Depends on how
2025, isn't
fast
it?
Probably.
Probably, Andrew.
For the Yanks, but maybe
yes. For Australia, we will probably be able to order it maybe by the end of this year. If the rumors hold that, I mean, don't forget the Highland Model 3 was basically designed in China. That modification was done locally in China at the Gigafactory or at the design center or whatever it's called in Shanghai. So it's perfectly logical that the Juniper Model Y will also be designed in China, and it'll first be built in China like the Highland Model 3 was. So for once, we'll get another model of car before the people in the States, which would be good because they've already got the Cybertruck. But enough of the C word. All right, any last drinks before we wrap up this awesome show, which actually I was going to say I hadn't noticed before, but I did really. Pete Petrosky's not with us today, so I'll have to do the intro on his behalf. Outro, sorry.
Outro.
But yeah, any last questions or comments before we wrap up this awesome show?
I've got a 1 hour interview with ChargeFox on Monday. They want to talk about some new product or something.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'll report back.
Very good. Yeah, that'll be interesting, James. New product.
I think it's to do with home charging, so you can do home charging through them and get it whatever, for you, especially if you're on novated leases.
Right. Yes, okay, because one thing that novated leases lack is, that one of their flaws, and it's almost impossible to remove it, is a fuel cost, presumed fuel cost, which for most of us never happens. Yeah, right. Cool. Sorry, when was that? Was that
on Monday? I booked in Monday.
Oh, fantastic.
It's the easiest. I've just dropped you with the information in the chat privately to you so you can see it.
Okay. Yeah, cool. No worries. Thanks. I'll actually I'll just got to copy and paste that before it gets destroyed by signing off. 2 seconds while I distract myself. Paste. Awesome. Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, it'd be awesome if to whatever extent you're able to report to us next week, provided that that's okay with them.
Yeah, I'll make sure
it's not in confidence.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we'd obviously universally applaud ChargeFox for any of their innovations, that they come up with, because God knows that, the EV charging space needs innovation dearly. So that's awesome. Thanks, James. Alrighty. On that note, any other last drinks before we officially wrap this up? Yep. So, alrighty. So as Pete Petrosky would normally do, and as I would ask him the rhetorical question of how he would round out this awesome show, he would always say, as always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve, for which Pete is notoriously known for doing so. I would then respond by saying, and the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Have an awesome week, everyone. I'm just going to very, very quickly and quietly confess that I'm going to be sussing out a hire caravan to do some experiments, and I'll report back on that next week. But in the meantime, have an awesome week, and I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Bye, Harold.
Guys.